Welcome to Complexity Made Simple. My name is Paul Allen, and the subject of today's video newsletter, well, we're going to answer a query. Someone's left a comment about measurement system analysis, so thank you, Sadiq. If anybody wants to leave comments on any of my videos and ask me questions, often I will answer them by making a video specifically to answer the question. But we're going to do a video today which is all about measurement system analysis. But before we get into that, just a reminder that if you like the videos and you want to know everything that's in the videos plus much more besides, please go to lulu.com. You can get my book on the subject of Six Sigma, which is called Drink Tea and Read the Paper. So you can get it from lulu.com. You can buy the hard copy like this from lulu.com, or you can download an electronic copy. So if you like the videos, buy the book. So Sadiq, let's answer your question. So Sadiq has asked me this question about MSA, and the question basically says this: when do we not do an MSA in a Six Sigma project? Okay, so that's the question, and I think it's very important. When do we not need MSA? Now, I think it's important that we qualify the question, because Sadiq has asked it in a very specific way. He said, look, when do we not need an MSA in a Six Sigma project? Now, my point of view here would be, if it's in a Six Sigma project, the simple answer I would say to Sadiq's question, when do we not need? Well, in a Six Sigma project, I would say pretty much you always need one. You always need one in a Six Sigma project. So I'm going to give you some examples where I wouldn't do an MSA. I either wouldn't do one or I wouldn't do a formal MSA. But let's just think before we do that, what's the MSA for? So let's just get that straight first, and then you'll understand why you always need one. The first thing is, if you're doing a Six Sigma project, you have a problem. Okay, so that's important. We have a problem. So often, you know, we are doing a Six Sigma project because we've got this type of problem. And the important thing, of course, is you draw one of these diagrams. So one of the important things you do is, right at the beginning, define and measurement phase. You collect data, typically 30 to 50 data points, very important, and you find out the current capability of your process. Now, why do we always need one? So we've got a problem. Well, here's the deal with measurement system analysis. Measurement error always makes this picture look fatter. So in reality, if I put a distribution just below this, look, what your process might really be producing is the blue distribution. What you see is the black distribution, and the difference between the two is your measurement error. So here's the issue. You have a problem. You have too much variability and you wish to reduce the variability. So why do I need to do an MSA? Well, I need to know how big this is, because if that's quite large, the measurement system might be the only place you go to solve this problem. If the measurement system is producing a poor result, if the measurement system is poor enough and your underlying distribution is good enough, Actually, the measurement system is the root of the solution. All right, so, and we need to know that. Now, it could be that the difference between the black and the blue here could be very, very tiny. So in other words, your measurement system is really good, in which case your measurement system is not a route to a solution. But we need to know that. Is the measurement system a place where we could find the answer to our problem? So we have to do one. So in answer to your question, Sadiq, in a Six Sigma project where you have a problem, pretty much you should always do one. Now I'm going to give you two examples where I wouldn't do an MSA. So let's do example number one. Where would I not? So in other words, where is an MSA sort of not needed? Okay. The first example is going to slightly contradict what I've just said up here a little bit, but it's when the project you're doing, when the measurement system is very non-technical. So, for example, so I'm just going to write that down. So it's sort of a non-technical measure. And the example I'm going to give you, because I did this, I have done a project like this before I became a business consultant when I was working for Sony as a black belt. I did a project on delivery dates. So suppliers bringing material in, are they delivering on the correct delivery date? Are they delivering too early? Are they delivering too late? We want them to deliver dead on the date. So the example here would be something like delivery on time. All right, now the computer did this for me. So my computer worked this out. And you know, the computer's not going to get it wrong. What you basically got is you have a date when the transaction says the item arrived. So we book the item onto the computer. We have a date that we ask for it to be delivered. And the computer just looks at the two dates and it says, am I on time? Am I early? Am I late? Now the computer's not going to get that calculation wrong. So in that sense, do I need to do an MSA? No, not a formal MSA. The result will be correct. However, when I pulled up the hundreds of transactions that were created every day that were incoming to the manufacturing plant, television plant at Sony, what was part of those transactions were engineering samples, prototypes, things like that. Purchase orders where the delivery date was a complete guess as opposed to a very specific needed by date. So what we sometimes had, because of the way the engineer put the purchase order together, sometimes the parts would arrive 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks early. Sometimes they would arrive 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks late, depending on how the purchase order was put on the system. And it was put on the system manually. So my data set here, my on-time delivery, contained inappropriate records that were to do with the engineering department, to do with prototypes and things like that. I was looking at production parts. So of course one of the things I had to do was filter all that rubbish out. So although I didn't do an MSA, didn't do a formal MSA, I checked the data for cleanliness. And if there was rubbish in there, I took the rubbish out. Okay, so it's sort of what you're doing here. You know, if there's rubbish data here, you can't just take the data out of a technical measurement system. You have to improve the measurement system. But I didn't do a formal measurement system. So that would be the one example in a Six Sigma project if your measurement system is non-technical and there's no possibility of an error with the measurement system. As such, 2 dates, the computer's not going to make a mistake, but you do need to check it for cleanliness. Is there anything in there that shouldn't be there? So that's sort of an informal MSA really, but you're not doing the formal calc. So that's number one. Now the second one is not when you're doing a Six Sigma project. The point I made here is that when you're doing a Six Sigma project, you have a problem. you have a defect rate, and therefore your measurement system might be an opportunity for the solution. So you got to go look, you got to go do the MSA. But how about if you don't have a problem? How about if you're putting a new product out into production and you actually don't have a problem? So in other words, where wouldn't I do an MSA? When my manufacturing process is problem free. Now if I put a new product out onto the shop floor, some of the documentation, APQP, things like that, they sort of force you to do an MSA. But to me, I wouldn't do an MSA as a matter of course. The first thing I would do, I do a CPK analysis. As soon as I implement new product introduction, I would ask the question, can I make this okay? And I would do the CPK. I'd go and get 30 to 50 and I'd work this picture out. Now, if we're problem free, so let's draw the potential picture here. And I'm going to draw it fairly extreme just to make a point. So we are seeing the blue distribution. What's really there is the black distribution. Now the difference here, look, this size here, this measurement error here. If I did a formal MSA, this is telling me my measurement system isn't very good. It's huge, the measurement error. But you see, I don't have a problem. I'm not making defects. You see here, by inflating this distribution, I started making defects. This measurement error is making me think I've got defects when I really haven't. Well, look at this one. Do I think I've got defects when I really haven't? No, so that's not a problem. Don't need to improve it. How about this then? If the process started to wander, so if it moved dramatically towards the specifications over to here or to here, could the measurement system see that movement? Well, yes, it could. So it's not getting me to misclassify, it's not causing me a problem. If the process started to wander into regions that we would be unhappy with, would the measurement system be able to see it? Yes. Would the measurement system allow me to center this when I set it up? Yes, I could center it. So actually the measurement system provides me with all the things that I need for a successful manufacturing process. Now, if I did a formal MSA, there's a good chance 50% of all the variability that I'm seeing is coming from the measurement system. That would tell me to go and work on that measurement system and improve it. It's not causing me any problems. It's actually not causing me a problem. It's actually perfectly okay for the manufacturing process that I'm using it on, because the capability is so good. So one of the questions one of the answers to your question, Sadiq, when do I not need an MSA? Well, you don't need an MSA when your capability is so good that your measurement error is no longer causing you a problem. Okay, so that's the answer to the question. Really, if I'm doing a Six Sigma project, really the general answer is you're always going to need one, because you're trying to improve a problem. But if you don't have a problem, you don't need an MSA. Don't go and open this box. Don't go and open this box of tricks. So yesterday you didn't have a problem. You go and do an MSA and it says you got 50% error in your measurement system. Suddenly you got a bloody huge problem that you didn't have yesterday, and actually it's not causing you any grief. Avoid those kinds of things. In a Six Sigma project, you've normally got a problem. You're going to need an MSA because it's a great place where the solution might pop up. So Sadiq, there's the answer to your questions. Hopefully that's covered it in sufficient detail. Glad you dropped me a comment. Please give me a like on the video if this has answered your question. Anybody else watching this, please give us a like, because it helps beat the Google algorithm, whatever that is. And hopefully drop some more comments and I'll answer them for you. Look forward to hearing from you soon.